But we got this game preview brought to you by BetUS. We got the first preseason game of the season. It is Chargers at Rams, LA at LA on NFL Network. That is 7 o'clock LA time at SoFi Stadium. This is the first Battle of SoFi. The Rams and Chargers playing against each other. 2022 will be the first regular season game between these two. The Chargers, though, will be the home team, and I kind of hate that with my whole heart. I know that I said that, like, the Chargers being there doesn't, like, I don't care about that, but the first time we play each other, we have to be the road team. We got to go out in our own venue, and it's just going to be loaded up with powder blue? No. All right. I mean, it has to happen. So yes, but that one kind of hurts my feelings just a little bit. The Chargers are favored by 3.5 points. The over under 34. Yes, you can gamble on preseason games, and it's way cooler. All right, way cooler because there's no strategy to it at all. You never know what's gonna happen, which is cool. But over under 34, so they don't anticipate a lot happening here. Let's get into some game notes. Rams quarterback John Wolford will not play. The Wolf. Will not be playing in this game. And actually, we heard from Sean McVay on Tuesday that the Wolf will not be playing in any preseason games. So we will get a heavy dose of Bryce Perkins and Duck Hodges. Quack, quack, and but only one of those guys is playing. We don't have any animal noises for Stafford or for Perkins. But, hey, 50% is not too bad. But we will, like I said, get a heavy dose of Bryce Perkins and Duck Hodges. Not sure who's going to start. Not sure what that rotation is going to look like. But, we'll see both of those guys. Darrell Henderson will not play in the preseason as well, all but confirming that he is the guy for the 2021 season for the LA Rams at the running back spot. Sebastian Joseph Day suffered a minor ankle injury, likely will not play as he is listed as a starter, but he is also expected to be fine. That's not expected to be a major injury, anything like that. There has been a couple of bumps and bruises here and there. Darrell Henderson hurt his hand, but he came back. Sebastian Joseph Day, he gets an ankle, but he looks to be fine. So we're looking good still there on the injury front, except for, of course, Cam Akers, but we don't need to talk about that every single week. But the Rams do list Taylor Rapp as a starter. With how last season went with Burgess, I think it's very real that we see Rapp play in preseason, and then we see him and Burgess kind of battle that out. Because I do think it's a very real possibility that Burgess can be the starter in week 1 if that battle kind of plays out. I do believe it is a battle. I don't think that Rapp is just officially the starter and good to go there. I do believe that that is a battle. Brian Allen is listed as the starting center on the unofficial depth chart. McVay has been very positive on Allen, and I hope that we do see him in preseason a little bit because, of course, training camp is one thing. Going against Aaron Donald is definitely not a bad thing to practice with. But to go against the other guys and against, this week will be the Chargers, who will have an interesting defense, especially with Brandon Staley, former Rams defensive coordinator, going over there. So I think that'll be a little bit of an interesting dynamic to it because, of course, we know what their defense is. We ran it. So as far as a preseason game, I think that it kind of carries on a little bit with what we've been seeing in training camp. But it will be different players, which makes a huge difference, of course. But I would like to see Brian Allen in preseason, even if it's just a couple of drives. Troy Reeder and Kenny Young listed as the starting inside linebackers. We could really see just about every linebacker play. Again, it's one of those things where we don't play starters in preseason, but with the way that these battles are, we're not top-heavy at the linebacker spot, except for Leonard Floyd. I think that Floyd is the only linebacker that we for sure won't see in preseason. But I do think it's very real that we do see the rest of our linebackers in a rotation for the preseason. And there's plenty of them to go around. And at that inside linebacker spot, I'm really excited to see what Traven Howard can do. Of course, we didn't have him last year. And, Micah Kaiser being the starter last year, he's going to be coming in off the bench. So will number 59, will he be able to do something and maybe wiggle his way back into that starting lineup over Reeder or Kenny Young? I wanted to reiterate this, guys, on my game notes here, is that the score of this game does not matter. I can't emphasize that enough. The score of this game does not matter unless you got money on it. Well, then it does matter a little bit, but that's only for you, As far as wins and losses and dubs, it does not matter at all right? Individual matchups matter, all right? Each play is its own thing. Teams usually are trying to put people in specific situations to get good tape. All right, winning the game is really irrelevant. And I'd absolutely argue that getting good tape is far more important than getting a win in preseason. You want to put your guys in situations where you're seeing, somebody, let's use an example of Robert Rochelle. We want to see him in a situation where he's going one-on-one with a corner or with a wide receiver from the Chargers and seeing how he handles that coverage. Even if the ball's not over there, how close is he sticking to his guy? How is he reading the play? The safeties for a guy like Nick Scott, how's he reading the plays? Where is he attacking? It's not necessarily if the ball's coming to him or anything like that, or what happens on the play. If you're looking for individual guys to do their jobs, all right? And like I said, it's not up to, like, you're not usually trying to string together stuff. You're usually trying to pick a play, evaluate that play, move on, next play. That now is the previous plays irrelevant. In the regular season, especially with Sean McVay and the way that he runs his offense specifically, you try to string together some things. You try to do this, you hit him here, hit him here, hit him here, and then you can hit him here, then you hit him here, then you do a play action this way. You're trying to set stuff up. That's not necessarily the case in preseason. You're just trying to get good tape. And if we can get good tape, we're doing fine. At the quarterback spot, we'll talk about this here in a second as well, but in the quarterback spot, you're not looking for Bryce Perkins or Duck Hodges to absolutely light it up and make fans say that, oh, hey, this guy should be the starter. Because, A, that's not going to happen. All right, we know that Matthew Stafford's going to be the number one guy. We know that the Wolf, is going to be number two. These guys are really probably fighting for who will be a practice squad quarterback in their own right. That's going to be their battle. They might squeeze their way under the roster. I doubt it, though. I think that the Rams would rather use that roster spot on probably an extra wide receiver rather than a third quarterback, especially when we got a guy like Johnny Hekker, who has, for the last few years, been the emergency quarterback on this roster. So we're not looking for, to see, like, a sweet Bryce Perkins to Tristan Jackson connection where they're just vibing together. It doesn't matter. That's irrelevant, all right, because that guy's not going to be our quarterback. We're not looking for that. We'll actually talk about that here in a second, but we're just looking for individual matchups, all right? Let's talk about the 3-2-C. The 3-2-C in this one, we got groupings for this one, actually. Typically, for the regular season, what we do is we kind of highlight specific players, but with the bulk of the starters, if all of them probably, not playing in this game, then we're going to look for position groups. So the first one here in the 3-2-C is going to be the wide receiver group. That's mainly Tutu Atwell, Van Jefferson, Tristan Jackson, J.J. Koski, Jeremiah Hadel. They all figure to get plenty of playing time, with the Cooper Kupp, Deshaun Jackson, and Robert Woods not getting playing time. I would be very surprised if we saw them in this one. But with our quarterbacks, we're not looking for any kind of rhythm or how they connect. We are looking for individual talent. We are not looking for Duck Hodges to hit Hadel and make splashes that way and develop that connection. What we are looking for is where that ball is thrown, how Hadel adjusts to it. How is he going for the high point? Is he working on the back shoulder? How is his separation from the cornerback? Stuff like that. We're not looking for them to connect with each other necessarily on that mental level. Where's the ball at? That is, of course, kind of important, but hey, how's Van Jefferson playing that ball? How's Tutu playing that ball? Where's Tutu running at? Is he going deep? Is he blowing past everybody? Is he going short and then trying to get that yak yards? You know what I mean? Like the yards after catch. Is that what he's trying to do? These are the things that we're looking for here. Tristan Jackson, Van Jefferson, Jeremiah Hadel. These are all people to watch for sure. I'd let it be known on the NFC West roundtable that of all of the rookies that the Rams do have for this draft class, I put Tutu Atwell as the highest bust potential. That's not me saying that I do think he's going to be a bust, but I do think he's got the highest bust potential. He's having a hard time putting on weight. He's already had issues with the COVID protocols and stuff. He was the one that had the issues with Instagram Live and the jerseys coming out. Those weren't, of course, the official jerseys, but there's already a lot of things happening here with Tutu that is kind of making fans maybe just raising some red flags, I guess, in my own brain and some other fans' brains here. That maybe Tutu, maybe. I'm not saying it's for sure, but that's what we'll find out on Saturday. We'll see what he's doing out there on the field, because that's, of course, where it's the most important. The next grouping here that we'll look at is the secondary. Darius Williams and Jalen Ramsey are likely the only two to really sit for this game. David Long Jr. rocking number 22, Dante Dion in 21, Robert Rochelle in 31, Donovan Alumba in 49, Kareem Orr in 46, Bronte Harris in 35, and I didn't have a number for Tyler Hall yet. I didn't see it available yet, but these are all guys going to get plenty of playing time And watch how they pass off coverage in zones. Like, we're not looking for just interceptions and pick sixes and stuff like that. Watch how they pass off the coverage in zones. Watch how they play the ball. Watch how they're sticking to their man in man-on-man, like man-to-man coverage. We're not looking for to win every play, but if each individual player can win their matchups, then we're looking pretty good. So if a guy like, let's say Robert Rochelle, if he's just on his dude, then I mean, that even though somebody else gives up a touchdown, that's not necessarily a knock against Rochelle. That's kind of my point here. But watch how they pass off the coverage in zones, and how they, like, if somebody's in the flat and they're kind of backing up, staying with a guy and then pass it off, is there a guy that he was supposed to maybe cut off a little bit sooner and coming up and leaving somebody open? That's the kind of stuff that we got to watch for as far as the secondary goes. But it'll be difficult to get into a rhythm, so don't anticipate that. We're looking for individual plays. Make plays. Do a good job on each individual play, but we got a lot of guys we're trying to get tape on, so it's going to be hard to get a rhythm with that rotation going. So watch them specifically, not the play. Not all of these guys will make the team. He who pops probably will. That's usually what you see with the secondary when guys are out there making plays and, you know, breaking on routes. If maybe he's covering this guy, he sees the ball's thrown and he gets over here and makes a defensive play. Like Jalen Ramsey's one interception last year it was thrown to a guy he was not covering. You know, stuff like that is what we're going to want to see. Taylor Rapp is listed ahead of Terrell Burgess right now. I don't think that I expect it to stay that way. I don't think that I don't even think that Taylor Rapp is a Rams starter enough for him to be in, like, not playing in preseason, if that makes any sense. Is he a Rams starter enough to be like, no, you don't play in preseason. We need you week one, so you're out, man. Like, we know you're good. We know you're going to be there week one. So I don't know if he's in that tier yet. Nick Scott is also a player to watch as well. He was brought in by Bones specifically to play special teams, and he was told by Bones, you will not go undrafted. We will take you. And, of course, the Rams did in the 7th round. But he's also been really working on his craft at the safety spot. And if you guys haven't watched his video that the Rams put out, you can check it out on the Los Angeles Rams YouTube channel. Very cool video about Nick Scott, kind of just his story a little bit. And, to talk about the backyard stuff. It's just pretty cool stuff. But I won't spoil all of it. Go check it out for yourself. Last position group here is going to be the running back group. We know that Darrell Henderson is not playing. He's our top guy this year, and that's not a bad thing. He had one less rushing yard than Cam Akers did last year and 3 more touchdowns than Cam Akers did last year. Not trying to say that Cam Akers is bad. I'm just trying to say that Darrell Henderson is good. Xavier Jones and Jake Funk figure to be the guys that come in for Hendo throughout the season. And it's great to have 2 of those guys that could come in to kind of be that spell back for Hendo, kind of to come in to spell Henderson when he's getting a little bit tired, and to be able to keep him healthy for now 1 extra regular season game and what will hopefully be multiple playoff games. But this will allow for a good rotation between these 2. Specifically, we're going to watch to have these 2 guys play on where they're coming in and what situations they're playing in and how they're performing in those specific situations. That's what I wanted to say. So, let's see here. Catching a screen, like this is just some examples, like catching a screen. How are they on the zone? Like, how are they reading those blocks and when do they hit that hole? How fast are they hitting that hole? Are they making that cut and they're gone? Or are they making that cut and then kind of shifting a little bit and then kind of getting bottled up? How are they in pass protection? These are all situations that they're going to be in and that are going to be very important to watch. And Raymond Clay and Otis Anderson Jr. are realistically in a battle between each other to make this team. The Rams very well could keep 4 running backs with the Akers injury, and the ability of either of these guys to play on special teams does benefit a lot. But I will mention, with Raymond Clay being officially already listed as the unofficially listed as the kick returner for the Rams, I do think that he would be technically ahead of Otis Anderson Jr., but I do think a real battle is unfolding between these 2. Much like the Jones and Funk grouping, watch how these 2 play in specific situations. Both will probably not see the quarters 1 and 2, which really means 2 things. Your blocking is worse because you're going with guys that are not necessarily the top tier. And, of course, we won't even see starters. So, at this point, you're going to be seeing the depth. You're going to be seeing Cameron Meredith. That's not a shot at Cameron Meredith, but he is lower on the depth chart right now. So those are the guys you're going to see blocking for you. But also, you're going to see a weaker defense. You're going to see guys that are not going to be making the roster on the other team defending you. So it's easy for a future monster to really stick out in the second half of preseason games. And that's what we're going to look for between these two, especially myself. That's really what I'm looking for. Raymond Calais and Otis Anderson Jr. Who of these guys pops in the second half? Because, like I said, it's easy to pop in the second half when you're an absolute monster. When you're about to be a total stud, it's easy to break some ankles of some linebackers who are about to get, they're a couple weeks away from getting cut. You know, even if your blocking is not as good, it's easier to look good in front of inferior opponents, even when your blocking may not be the toppest of the notches.